Cossack 38, a reiteration of a destroyer that's already currently in the game, but in her 1938 configuration. She has one extra turret that's going to bring her firepower way up over the original. Does that make her worth bringing to your port? Let's find out. Okay, so we get another British tribal class destroyer in the game at tier 6. Really, I think we could have used a tier 7 Royal Navy Premium Destroyer, but hey, I'm never going to complain about more content. First things first, how is this ship different than the Cossack that is already in the game at tier 6? The big thing to note are the turrets on the stern of the ship. OG Cossack, there is an AA mount back here in turret, I think it would be X, and it's uncontrolled by the player. And on 38, this turret is usable and brings your main gun armament up to 8. Loadout is the other key difference, I would say. The original Cossack has British long-duration sonar, and the 38 does not. Cossack 38 is more focused on guns. Obviously, with 2 more guns on board, you're going to have 10k more DPM, and the original Cossack is going to have a better torpedo armament. They reload 24 seconds faster, they deal over 1,000 more damage apiece, and they're 1 knot faster in the water. And also the OG Cossack has better concealment. So there you go. Cossack 38, gunboat, original Cossack more of a torpedo boat or a hybrid, because I guess her guns are actually pretty good. So we're going to have more detailed comparisons of all the stock tier 6 DDs later on in the video if you want to pause and compare and look at the charts. The match in the background is domination on Sleeping Giant. Thank goodness it's domination and actually pretty decent matchmaking for me in this one. No CV and only 1 radar cruiser. That was pretty good for the matches that I played last night. One of the DDs though is USS Black and has radar, so we're going to have to watch out for that. I'm going to head to the cap, of course, and start contesting. Cossack 38, having 8 decent guns, is a good cap contester and can go toe-to-toe with nearly any other tier 6 DD in a gunfight, with some caveats that I'm going to share later on. As for the build, aiming systems, propulsion, and concealment module. My commander, Vian. We're using quick fix, sidestep, and rather be torching, and that kind of highlights how I'm playing this ship. Inspirations are Bey and Sims. Prop mod. Yes, this is a British destroyer, but she does not have a built-in one such as the Jervis, so I would recommend using prop mod for quick starts and stops. You notice I didn't put any skills into the torpedoes with Mr. Vian. That's because this is one of the worst torpedo armaments at tier 6. Orkans is quite bad. Kids, I think it's at least 1 rack of Fletcher torpedoes, so even that's better. But Cossack has 1 rack of 4 torpedoes with a 96-second reload. They're only 61 knots in the water, they have an 8-second reaction time. All of it means don't bother. Spec into your guns, and you're going to have a lot more fun. Sidestep is a great skill to boost your gun range, and the combination of rather be torching and quick fix will keep you on the move while boosting your fire damage. The stats for the probability of your engine and steering gears being knocked are hidden. There's no way for me to see that, but I will tell you this. Nearly every time I took a significant hit from HE, you can count on steering gears or engine being knocked out. You're really going to want to use Unstoppable or Quick Fix. Save yourself the frustration. Really. And the inspirations, of course. Bey is a no-brainer for the concealment, but Sims to buff the HP. Since we're going to be playing this as a gunboat pretty aggressively, trading shots with other DDs, HP is a currency you're going to want to have more of, so you can spend it throughout the match. Shooting from open positions if you have to, and again, fighting other DDs. Now, the irony of talking trash on the torpedoes and then dev striking in Minsk is not lost on me. But I overstay my welcome. I really thought Nelson was going to blap me here, but all he took was my crappy torpedo launcher. I'm not even mad. Other destroyers, I might have sat my controller down and said, well, this one's in God's hands now. But with the Cossack 38, who cares, man? This thing's all about the guns anyways, so here we go. We'll see how this match turns out without any more torps. You do have smoke. Of course, that would mean relying on teammates to spot for you and not spotting yourself. You are a destroyer after all, so as soon as you smoke up to farm, you're not really being the best teammate. Of course, this is situational, but the smoke screens, to cover them, they're not short duration smokes like we have on the Jervis, the tier 6 Tech Tree DD. They last twice as long, 85 seconds, but I have to say, I would rather have 6 Jervis smokes than 2 of these 85-second smokes. Short duration smokes, to me, they're way more useful. They're helpful to protect yourself against carriers. You can use them more freely since you have more of them. You can take up different positions across the map. Yes, you could use Tyrwit and Smogathon. That could be helpful, but Tyrwit's other skills don't really mesh with this boat. Subsurface Venture, contact is imminent, they're a waste. 4 torpedoes with a 96-second reload, that's a wasted skill. Destroyer be destroyed hurts your shell grouping, and using Smogathon means you have nothing to help you when your steering gears and engine get knocked, which again, I'm warning you, it seems to happen a lot in this boat. Or my RNG for the last 8 games I played was just atrocious, but I really don't think so. But you guys will soon find out if you buy this ship. Back to Sims. The stock HP for this boat, 14,800. That is pretty average, yes, but when trading in gunfights, that extra 2,500 health with Sims is going to be very helpful. Now, this tribal class destroyer is much larger than, say, Jervis or Benson, about 30 feet longer than Benson, actually. It has more freeboard than Yukikaze and Minsk. It, to me, is a very easy target to smack, or rather, get smacked. So there's some little side profiles of other destroyers. Now, it's not the worst at the tier. Z35, it's probably the best tier 6 DD overall, and that thing is massive, 410 foot long, I believe. It's one of the biggest destroyers. So it's not the end of the world, but I'm just saying this is an easy target to hit. On top of that, yes, you have 8 guns, but if you want to use them all, you're going to basically have to give a flat broadside. The turret angles, if you haven't noticed in this game, are atrocious. Keep an eye on them as the rest of this game plays out. If you're sailing into an enemy, you can 100% forget about the Y turret, the turret on the very back of the ship, doing anything. You do fare a little better if you're kiting away, as the B turret, the second turret on the ship, can often stay on target, giving you at least 6 guns. But it's going to be a cause of frustration, I'll warn you. If you're trying to angle, juke, dodge, or other tactics you might be able to pull off in Benson, say in destroyer fights, you're really not going to be able to keep all of your guns on target without making yourself juicy flat broadside. Your best bet in a knife fight will be throttle control. Timing enemy shots with braking and then prop mod acceleration. If you can make an enemy miss a salvo or 2, it could be the difference between staying alive in a fight or not. Since we are talking about these guns, DPM is fantastic. All of these numbers are stock DPM numbers for all the tier 6 destroyers, and Cossack 38 is king of the castle. It ties with the Oland, so this is one of the higher points of the ship, and 8% fire chance stock means you can set plenty of fires to help you damage the more heavily armored ships. Keep in mind, with BE Torchin as a legendary skill, my fire chance is 10%. That's a legendary too. You can get it a lot better if you have the resources for Vian. The AA, kind of a joke. DPS for the Cossack 38 is 17. The original Cossack with the extra AA turret up there, it's like a 102mm gun or something. The AA DPS is 35, so still pretty useless. But Cossack 38 AA, you can probably have more success by taking your shoe off and throwing it at your TV against enemy airplanes than the actual in-game DPS. So keep that in mind. CVs are going to be a problem for you. The Torpedoes, well, like I talked about, they suck. They also have atrocious firing angles to match the guns. You'll need to position yourself basically flat broadside to launch them. I would say at least you can single fire them. That is a great bonus. It allows them to get into tight spots, as the Minsk, or to hurt ships that are rushing you bow on. Otherwise, you're not going to be relying on them a whole lot in the Cossack 38. Speed, 36.5. It's pretty average. You do have 2 stock 8% speed boosts that are pretty standard at the tier, but they'll help you get around the map. The ship maneuvers quite well, starts and stops great with the prop mod. It feels very comfortable, and finally, the concealment is also a pretty good point of this ship. I have mine down to 5.2 on this build. like mentioned earlier, the OG Cossack is actually better in this department by 0.3 of a kilometer. So on the chart here, we can see the green Cossack 38 and then the OG in red. Let's check in on the match. We had to bug out from the other side of A over there because we were getting pushed by the Nelson. There was still a black. There was a lot of scary ships over there, so we moved in, capped B, and now we're going to go get our third cap of the game. We'll speed up this part just a little bit. So, Cossack 38. I think you're going to struggle in matchups with other high DPM boats, the Benson, the Azerlane Yukikaze, the Aland, the Kid, and the Minsk, depending on the range that you're engaging. And of course, you know, the tier 7 DDs are going to be lots of trouble for this boat as well, but she is a pretty decent gunboat. You know, these guns, they hit hard, 1700 HE shell damage, and having 8 of them is pretty fun. The big problem for me with the gunboating and fighting other enemy DDs is of course the gun angles. So yeah, you're tied for the best HE DPM at the tier, but you're rarely going to have all of your guns on target firing all of the time, and if you do, you're going to make yourself an easy target for enemy DDs, showing the broadside. Kiting away, of course, is going to help. Getting caught bow in, you're going to be screwed. If you get into a good position to farm using all of your guns from smoke, you can see some good damage numbers with this ship and have quite a bit of fun doing it. The problem here for me is that as soon as you take up this role, you're not really being a good destroyer anymore for your team. And you have to rely on teammates to spot for you, which apparently last night during my games was a huge issue. I think Cossack 38 could be pretty fun in a division, but what ship isn't, I suppose? They're all going to do better in divisions. But last night, I had a hard time carrying and doing drastic things when not having a good supportive team. 1v1 fights can leave you taking tons of damage. No sonar prevents you from pushing in and being super aggressive. It also makes it dangerous to sit in your long duration smokes if there are anything with torpedoes on your flank or in your area. Terrible AA means you're a great target for CVs, and this comes at a time when carrier games are becoming more and more prevalent. For me, I will take Jervis, the Tech Tree DD, any day over Cossack 38. It has a bigger torpedo armament. It has sonar. It has 6 short duration, I think they're 40-second smokes, and it also has that beautiful 360-degree gun on the back with pretty decent firing angles. You can keep all 6 of those guns on target most of the time, whereas the Cossack 38, you're doing maneuvers like this, where you're basically flat broadside. You know, you can, of course, farm from over islands and stuff like that, but once again, I would argue that you're not being the best destroyer in that role. I would, of course, love to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Do you have the original Cossack? I know it's been out for a while. I never got it. I never played it. I did kind of review it a lot and watch some videos on it on the PC. But yeah, for me, Cossack 38 is a pass. I think it has a spot where it could be fun. The guns feel great and are super fun when you can actually use them. But overall, I would take the Jervis. Thank you guys for watching. Please smash the like button, and also I would point out less than 40% of my viewers are actually subscribed. So if this review were at all helpful, be sure to become a sub of the channel. Not a lot of damage in this one, but 3k base because I did my job as a destroyer. So with that, I'll catch you guys in the next one. See ya.